2 miles beneath the ocean surface, where sunlight has never reached, the Mariana Trench waits in total silence. Tonight, we descend into the abyss, an atmospheric sleep documentary where bizarre creatures glow with their own light and hidden objects rest in the deep. Let the quiet mysteries of the underwater world carry you into a deep sleep. In the Mariana Trench, at a depth of 36,000 feet, sits an unmanned deep-sea lander, a metal frame bristling with cameras and sensors, resting on the sediment like a skeletal visitor from another world. The lander's lights cast pale beams through the water, illuminating swirling particles that drift like snow in slow motion. These aren't snowflakes, but marine snow, an endless fall of organic debris from the sunlit world above. Around its legs, the fine mud bears impressions of things that have passed, drag marks from creatures unknown. The pressure here is over 1,000 times that of the surface, yet the lander endures, a temporary witness to this alien world. Drifting through the midnight zone, a transparent barrel appears suspended in the black water. But this is no human artifact. It's a salp, a gelatinous creature that pulses gently as it filters microscopic plankton from the sea. Its body is nearly invisible, a living glass tube that chains together with others of its kind, forming colonies that stretch for dozens of feet. Inside its translucent form, you can see its simple organs at work, and occasionally the faint glow of bioluminescent prey it has consumed. The salp moves with rhythmic contractions, a slow, meditative pulse in the stillness. Resting on a seamount 8,000 feet down lies a perfectly spherical rock about the size of a bowling ball. It's a manganese nodule formed over millions of years as minerals precipitated from the water and settled in concentric layers around a small core, perhaps a shark's tooth or a fragment of shell. The nodule's surface is rough and dark, pockmarked like a miniature moon. These strange stones carpet vast regions of the Abyssal Plain, fields of them stretching for miles, growing at the rate of a few millimeters per million years. To touch one would be to hold an object older than human civilization, forged in silence and darkness. A ghostly white octopus clings to a rocky outcrop near a hydrothermal vent. This is a Casper Octopus, so pale it seems almost translucent, with soft, undulating arms that feel along the rock. It guards a clutch of eggs, dozens of them, each one tended carefully. This vigil will last for years, the longest egg-brooding period of any known animal. The mother will not eat, slowly weakening as she fans water over her eggs, keeping them clean and oxygenated. By the time they hatch, she will have given everything. Her arms move slowly, deliberately in the warm current from the vent below. Half buried in sediment lies a whale skull, massive and ancient, its eye sockets empty and dark. This is a whale fall, the remains of a creature that died in the sunlit waters above and sank to the ocean floor. For decades, this carcass will sustain life in the abyss. First came the scavengers, sleeper sharks and hagfish that stripped the flesh. Then came the bone-eating worms, ossidacs, their red plumes waving from holes they've bored into the skeleton. The bones themselves are home to bacterial colonies that feed on the lipids within. A single whale fall can support a unique ecosystem for 50 years or more, an island of abundance in a desert of mud. Suspended in the water column, a marine snow aggregate drifts downward. It looks like a small, delicate cloud, a clump of organic particles, dead plankton, fecal matter, and mucus all bound together in a fragile matrix. This is the ocean's primary method of transporting carbon from the surface to the deep. Each aggregate falls slowly, tumbling through the darkness, and as it descends, small creatures pick at it, consuming parts while the rest continues downward. Some aggregates take weeks to reach the bottom. They are the umbilical cord between the living surface and the dead depths, a constant, gentle rain of nutrition into the abyss. A glass sponge rises from the seafloor like a delicate vase, its lattice structure formed from silica, essentially living glass. The Venus's flower basket sponge stands 2 feet tall, its intricate skeleton composed of spicules woven together in an impossibly complex pattern that engineers study for inspiration. Inside its hollow interior, 2 small shrimp often live, a mated pair that entered as larvae and grew too large to escape. They spend their entire lives within this glass prison home, feeding on particles that flow through while the sponge filters the water. The structure is so precisely engineered that it can withstand the immense pressure of the deep and the occasional current that sweeps past. An anglerfish hangs motionless in the water, her mouth filled with needle-like teeth that point inward. From her head extends a modified spine tipped with a glowing lure, a bioluminescent bulb filled with light-producing bacteria. She dangles this lure in the darkness, waiting. In a world without light, this false beacon draws the curious and the hungry. Attached to her belly, almost invisible, is something stranger, a parasitic male anglerfish, reduced to little more than a pair of testes fused to her body. He survives on her bloodstream, permanently attached, his only purpose to fertilize her eggs when the time comes. She is patient. In the abyss, food is rare, and predators must wait. A length of abandoned fishing net ghosts through the water, drifting with the current. It's covered in algae and small invertebrates now, transformed from human debris into an accidental reef. These ghost nets can drift for years, occasionally snagging on seamounts or wrapping around unsuspecting creatures. This one moves like a living thing, undulating in the current, its mesh creating patterns of shadow and void. Small fish have learned to navigate its corridors, finding shelter in its tangle. What was meant to catch has become something else entirely, a monument to human presence in places we rarely see. Clustered around a crack in the seafloor, tube worms sway in the current like a field of white and red flowers. These are giant tube worms, some stretching over 6 feet long, their red plumes exposed to gather dissolved compounds from the water. They have no mouth, no stomach, no digestive system. Instead, they host billions of bacteria within their bodies, bacteria that convert the toxic chemicals from hydrothermal vents into energy through chemosynthesis. The tube worms and bacteria exist in perfect symbiosis, creating life from poison in a place where photosynthesis is impossible. Their red plumes pulse gently, extracting hydrogen sulfide from water that would kill most other creatures instantly. A torpedo-shaped creature glides through the darkness, its body covered in photophores, light-producing organs arranged in precise rows along its flanks. This is a hatchetfish, its silvery body compressed so thin it's nearly two-dimensional. The lights on its belly match the faint downwelling light from above, making it invisible to predators looking up from below. Its tubular eyes point upward, scanning for the silhouettes of prey. When it opens its mouth, the jaw unhinges to an impossible angle, ready to swallow something nearly its own size. In the deep sea, every meal might be your last, so you must be prepared to consume whatever crosses your path. A ceramic teacup rests on the sediment, perfectly intact except for a delicate crack along its rim. It came from a shipwreck somewhere above, perhaps a luxury liner or a merchant vessel from a century ago. The cup has become an artifact of another world, slowly being colonized by bacteria that will, over centuries, consume the organic materials in the glaze. Around its base, small amphipods have made homes in the depression it creates. The handle provides shelter for a juvenile fish. Human objects in the abyss become unintentional architecture, frameworks for life in a place where structure is rare. A Dumbo octopus flaps its ear-like fins, hovering above the seafloor like a small, ghostly elephant. It's only 8 inches long, with large eyes and a soft, gelatinous body that ripples with each movement. Unlike its coastal relatives, this octopus doesn't use jet propulsion. The movement would waste too much energy. Instead, it flies through the water with slow, graceful fin strokes, searching the mud below for small worms and crustaceans. Its arms trail beneath it, occasionally reaching down to probe the sediment. Of all the deep-sea creatures, the Dumbo octopus appears the most gentle, almost whimsical, a creature that seems to belong in a dream. A boulder sits alone on the Abyssal Plain, inexplicably positioned miles from any other rock formation. It's a drop stone, carried here by an iceberg thousands of years ago during an ice age. As the berg melted and broke apart, it released this stone, which sank through 2 miles of water to rest where no rock should be. The boulder's surface is now colonized. Anemones cling to its sides, deep-sea corals have taken root, and small fish hover nearby. In the vast emptiness of the seafloor, any hard surface becomes precious real estate, an oasis that attracts life like a magnet. Long, translucent ribbons undulate through the water, a siphonophore, one of the ocean's strangest creatures. It appears to be a single animal, but is actually a colony of specialized organisms called zooids, each performing a different function. Some zooids propel the colony forward, others sting and capture prey, still others digest food or reproduce. The entire colony can stretch over 100 feet, making it one of the longest animals on Earth. Its body glows with bioluminescence, creating moving patterns of blue-green light that pulse along its length. Anything that touches its stinging tentacles becomes paralyzed, drawn inward to be consumed by the feeding zooids. A black smoke rises from a crack in the seafloor, belching superheated water enriched with minerals from deep within the Earth's crust. The water exits at 750 degrees Fahrenheit, but is instantly cooled by the surrounding near-freezing seawater, causing dissolved minerals to precipitate and form a chimney of dark sulfides. The smoke is actually these mineral particles. Around the base of the chimney, life thrives in conditions that would seem impossible. Tube worms, white crabs, and bacterial mats that feast on the chemical-rich water. This is one of Earth's most extreme habitats, where life draws energy not from the sun, but from the planet's molten interior. A Gulper eel drifts past, its body mostly mouth. The jaw can unhinge to create a pouch large enough to swallow prey larger than the eel itself. Its body is thin and whip-like, ending in a tail that glows with a pink light, a lure to attract curious creatures to its waiting jaws. The Gulper eel's tiny eyes suggest it relies more on other senses in the perpetual darkness. Its stomach can expand dramatically to accommodate whatever it manages to catch. This is the strategy of many deep-sea predators. Be ready to consume anything, because you never know when the next meal will come. A cluster of xenophyrophores covers several square feet of seafloor, single-celled organisms that have grown to enormous size, some as large as soft balls. They look like delicate lacework or pale brains, their bodies formed from collected sediment particles cemented together with secreted material. These are among the largest single-celled organisms on Earth, and they're abundant in the deep sea, where they feed on organic particles and bacteria. Scientists still don't fully understand how they grow so large without dividing, or how they function with just one cell. They're living fossils, largely unchanged for hundreds of millions of years. A 6-foot-long isopod scuttles across the bottom, looking like a massive pillbug or roly-poly. This is a giant isopod, a deep-sea scavenger related to the small crustaceans you might find under a rock in your garden. Its segmented exoskeleton is pale and armoured, its compound eyes adapted to detect the faintest glimmers of light. The isopod crawls slowly, conserving energy, searching for carrion, anything dead that drifts down from above. When it finds food, it can gorge itself, filling its body to capacity, then survive for months or even years without eating again. Its legs move in rhythmic waves as it patrols its territory. A Barreleye fish hovers in the twilight zone, and its appearance is startling. Its head is completely transparent, a fluid-filled dome through which you can see its tubular eyes pointing upward. The two dark spots that appear to be eyes are actually its olfactory organs. Its real eyes are the green orbs inside its head, rotating to track prey silhouettes against the faint light above. The transparent skull protects the sensitive eyes while allowing maximum light collection. When the fish spots prey, it rotates its eyes forward, and its body shifts to pursue. It's an example of evolution solving the problem of hunting in near-total darkness with an almost alien solution. A translucent jellyfish pulses through the water, its bell contracting and relaxing in a hypnotic rhythm. Trailing behind it are tentacles that extend 20 feet into the darkness, each one lined with thousands of stinging cells. But what makes this creature remarkable is its ability to bioluminesce in waves, pulses of blue light that ripple across its bell like a slow heartbeat. Scientists believe this light show may startle predators or attract prey. The jellyfish has no brain, no heart, no blood, just a simple nerve net that coordinates its movements. It's been drifting through Earth's oceans for over 500 million years, practically unchanged, a design so successful it needed no improvement. A World War II-era aircraft rests on a slope, its aluminum frame slowly corroding in the salt water. The cockpit canopy is gone, and small fish swim in and out of where the pilot once sat. Coral-like organisms have begun to colonize the wings, and the propeller blades are encrusted with sessile invertebrates. This plane fell from the sky over 70 years ago, carrying its crew to a watery grave. Now it's an artificial reef, a memorial, and a habitat combined. The military markings are still faintly visible on the fuselage, a ghostly reminder of human conflict in a realm that knows nothing of nations or wars. A comb jelly drifts past, its transparent body refracting light into rainbows despite the darkness surrounding it. 8 rows of cilia, tiny hair-like structures, beat in coordinated waves along its body, creating the shimmering effect. Unlike true jellyfish, comb jellies are harmless to humans, catching their prey with sticky cells rather than stinging ones. This one is barely larger than a walnut, yet it's perfectly adapted to life in the water column, able to control its position with remarkable precision using those rows of beating cilia. As it moves, the cilia create gentle currents that draw microscopic prey toward its mouth. An ancient anchor lies half buried in sediment, its iron form slowly dissolving into rust. The flukes are spread wide, still positioned as they were when they first bit into the seafloor, perhaps centuries ago. The wooden stock has long since rotted away, consumed by wood-boring mollusks and bacteria. This anchor once held a sailing ship steady through storms. Now it anchors only memory. Deep-sea crabs have made homes in the concave spaces between its arms. Small fish use it as a territorial marker. The metal will eventually disappear entirely, becoming part of the sediment itself. But for now it endures, a connection to sailors who fought winds and waves above. A vampire squid hovers in the water, its webbed arms drawn over its body like a cloak. Despite its ominous name, this 8-inch creature is harmless, feeding on marine snow rather than blood. When threatened, it turns itself inside out, exposing the underside of its arms, which are covered in fleshy spines. Bioluminescent organs at the tips of its arms flash in sequences, potentially confusing predators about which end is which. Its eyes are proportionally the largest of any animal, necessary for detecting the faintest traces of light in the mesopelagic zone. The vampire squid is a living fossil, the last surviving member of its order, unchanged for millions of years. A brass compass rests on a ledge, its glass face cracked but still intact. The needle inside has frozen in place, forever pointing toward a magnetic north it can no longer sense. This compass might have belonged to a ship's navigator, a submarine officer, or a merchant sailor. It once guided vessels across the surface, but now it's surrounded by creatures that navigate by chemical gradients, electrical fields, and senses humans don't possess. The brass has taken on a green patina, and small barnacles have begun to colonize its edges. To the creatures here, it's just another mysterious object from the world above. A spider crab picks its way across the bottom on impossibly long, thin legs that span 3 feet from tip to tip. Its small, triangular body seems inadequate to control such lengthy appendages, yet it moves with surprising grace. The crab is decorated with sponges and anemones that it has deliberately attached to its carapace, living camouflage that helps it blend with the seafloor and may also provide some protection. Its legs are covered in sensory hairs that detect vibrations and chemical signals in the water. It pauses occasionally, using specialized mouthparts to pick through the sediment for organic particles and small invertebrates. In the stillness of the abyss, it appears to move in slow motion. A glass float drifts through the water, a relic from decades past when fishing nets used hollow glass spheres for buoyancy before plastic replaced them. This one is perfectly intact, a green sphere about the size of a grapefruit, covered in a delicate net of rope that has become fuzzy with algae growth. Light would make it glow like an emerald, but here it's just another shade of darkness. Inside the sealed sphere is air from the surface world, compressed by the enormous pressure. The float has been drifting for decades, caught in deep currents, occasionally rising, mostly sinking, a wanderer in the eternal night. A tripod fish stands on the seafloor on elongated fin rays that prop it up like a 3-legged stool. It faces into the current, motionless except for the slight movement of its pectoral fins, which are extended forward like antennae. These sensitive fins detect vibrations from small crustaceans and other prey drifting by in the current. The fish can maintain this position for hours, expending minimal energy, simply waiting for food to come to it. Some tripod fish are hermaphrodites, able to function as male or female, depending on which potential mate they encounter, an adaptation to the scarcity of the deep, where finding any partner is better than waiting for the right one. A granite column lies on its side, carved with symbols from an ancient civilization. It likely fell from a ship transporting archaeological treasures, or perhaps it came from a coastal structure claimed by rising seas or earthquakes. The inscriptions are still legible, though now they're read only by the curious eyes of passing fish. Small organisms have settled in the carved grooves, creating patterns within patterns. The stone is far harder than the surrounding sediment, and it will outlast nearly everything else down here. In 1,000 years, when ships and anchors have corroded to nothing, this column will still rest here, an enigma on the ocean floor. A fangtooth fish swims through the darkness, its body small but its teeth grotesquely oversized. The fangs are so long that the fish has special sockets in its skull to accommodate them when its mouth closes. The teeth actually slide into grooves on either side of its brain. Its tiny eyes are nearly useless at this depth, so it relies on its lateral line system to detect vibrations and movement in the water. The fangtooth is one of the deepest living fish species, capable of diving to depths where the pressure would crush most other vertebrates. Despite its nightmarish appearance, it's only about 6 inches long, a reminder that in the deep sea, efficient predation matters more than size. A shipping container rests at an angle on the seafloor, its doors slightly ajar. Thousands of these containers are lost at sea each year during storms, sinking to become unintended artificial reefs. Through the gap in the doors, you can glimpse the cargo inside, crates and boxes slowly being colonized by marine life. The container's corrugated metal exterior provides surface area for sessile organisms, and fish have discovered the shelter it provides from currents. Over decades, the steel will corrode and eventually collapse, but for now it's a structure, and structure is valuable in the emptiness of the abyss. Whatever consumer goods it once carried are now irrelevant, transformed into habitat. A sea pig waddles across the mud on its tube feet, looking like a bloated, translucent sausage with legs. These creatures are actually a type of sea cucumber, specially adapted for life on the Abyssal Plain. They feed by sifting through sediment with specialized tentacles around their mouths, extracting organic particles. Sea pigs often travel in herds, dozens of them moving together in the same direction, possibly following chemical trails to areas of higher food concentration. Their bodies are soft and gelatinous, filled with fluid that helps them withstand the crushing pressure. As they move, they leave trails in the sediment, highways of disturbance that smaller organisms will follow. A bronze bell sits upright on the seafloor, its surface now green with corrosion and biological growth. It came from a ship's bell deck used to mark time and signal warnings. If you could lift it and strike it, would it still ring? The clapper is missing, perhaps corroded away or lost when the bell fell. Small shrimp have made homes inside its dome, finding shelter in the curved metal. The bell's surface bears inscriptions, the ship's name, perhaps a year, but they're now obscured by layers of marine growth. It once called out across waves, now it sits in silence deeper than sound can easily travel. A dragonfish prowls through the mid-water, its body long and eel-like, studded with photophores that create a pattern of lights along its flanks. From its chin hangs a bioluminescent barbell, a fishing lure it can wave to attract prey. But the dragonfish has another trick. It produces red bioluminescence, a wavelength most deep-sea creatures cannot see. This gives it a private flashlight, allowing it to see prey that cannot see it. Its teeth are transparent, made of specialized enamel that doesn't reflect light, another adaptation for stealth hunting. The dragonfish is both hunter and light show, a creature that has weaponized visibility in a world of darkness. A field of small, mushroom-shaped structures dots the seafloor, each one about the size of a dinner plate. These are trace fossils, burrows created by ancient organisms millions of years ago, now preserved in hardened sediment and exposed by ocean currents. The creatures that made them are long extinct, but their architecture remains. Modern organisms now use these ancient structures, finding shelter in holes carved by animals that lived in entirely different oceans. It's a conversation across deep time, where the dead inadvertently provide for the living, where the architecture of one epoch becomes the habitat of another. A plastic bottle lies on its side, its label long since dissolved, but the container itself virtually unchanged. Plastic is nearly indestructible at these depths, no sunlight to break it down, few organisms capable of consuming it. This bottle may have been dropped from a ship or washed out from a coastal area, eventually sinking to rest here. It represents one of humanity's most persistent footprints in the deep ocean. A small octopus has taken residence inside it, using the bottle as a portable shelter. The octopus doesn't know it's living in trash. To it, this is simply a convenient hollow object in a world where such things are rare. A cutthroat eel glides past, its body impossibly elongated, like a ribbon of muscle barely thicker than a finger. Its jaws are lined with backward curving teeth, and its mouth can open wide enough to engulf prey nearly half its own length. The eel's body undulates in waves as it swims, a movement that seems to take no effort. Its skin is dark, almost black, absorbing what little light exists at this depth. Cutthroat eels are among the most efficient swimmers in the deep sea, their body shape allowing them to glide through the water with minimal energy expenditure. They can survive for months between meals, their metabolism slowed to a crawl between hunting opportunities. A metallic sphere the size of a beach ball rests in the sediment, a float from a research buoy that broke loose from its mooring. Inside, instruments may still be recording data, though no one will ever retrieve this information. The sphere's surface is covered in a thin film of bacteria, the first stage of colonization. Small amphipods explore its curved surface, their antennae probing the metal. The sphere creates an anomaly in the local magnetic field, potentially confusing organisms that navigate by sensing the Earth's magnetism. It's a piece of human curiosity that has become an accidental resident of the world it was meant to study. A snailfish hovers near the bottom, its body translucent and gelatinous, with fins that look too delicate to provide any propulsion. Yet this is one of the deepest living fish species ever recorded, found at depths exceeding 26,000 feet. Its body contains special organic compounds that prevent proteins from crushing under extreme pressure. The fish has no scales, no swim bladder, almost no bones, just cartilage and soft tissue that can flex and compress. It feeds on small crustaceans, moving slowly to conserve energy. The snailfish represents the edge of where vertebrate life can exist, pushing against the absolute limits of what pressure flesh and blood can withstand. A cluster of cold seat mussels covers a patch of seafloor where methane bubbles up through cracks in the rock. These mussels, like the tube worms at hydrothermal vents, have no digestive system. They host chemosynthetic bacteria in their gills, bacteria that convert methane and hydrogen sulfide into energy. The mussels can live for over a century, growing slowly in the cold water, their shells building up layer after layer. They cluster so densely that they form reefs, creating habitat for dozens of other species. The methane seeping beneath them would be toxic to most life, but these mussels have built their entire existence around it, transforming poison into possibility. A brass sextant lies tilted against a rock, its mirrors still intact behind cracked glass. This navigational instrument once helped sailors chart their position by measuring the angle between celestial bodies and the horizon. Now it measures nothing, its view limited to the endless night of the abyss. The brass has taken on a beautiful patina, swirls of green and blue across its surface. A small crab has wedged itself into the space between the arc and the frame, making a home in the instrument's geometry. The sextant connected humans to the stars. Now it connects only to the mud and the creatures that pass by. A cookie cutter shark swims in lazy circles, its body cylindrical and unremarkable except for its mouth, a perfect circle of triangular teeth designed to gouge plugs of flesh from larger animals. This small shark, barely 18 inches long, attacks whales, dolphins, and large fish, clamping onto them with its lips to create suction, then spinning its body to carve out a cookie-shaped chunk of tissue. The wounds it leaves are distinctive and found on animals worldwide. The shark's underside glows with bioluminescence, except for a dark collar near its head. This creates a silhouette that resembles a small fish when seen from below, luring predators close enough for the cookie cutter to become the attacker instead of prey. A field of brittle stars covers the seafloor like a living carpet, thousands of them, with their 5 spindly arms spread wide. Each one is anchored at its central disc, but the arms wave gently in the current, positioned to catch falling particles and small organisms. When disturbed, they can move with surprising speed, their arms pulling them across the bottom in a motion that looks almost like scuttling. If an arm is lost to a predator, they can regenerate it, a slow process in the cold, deep water, but one that allows them to survive encounters that would kill other creatures. The brittle stars have turned this section of the abyss into a filter, straining nutrition from the water. An old wine bottle lies on its side, still corked, the wine inside long since spoiled by the pressure and cold. The label has dissolved, leaving no indication of the vineyard or the year. The glass is darkened with algae and has become a small ecosystem of its own, tiny organisms living in the grooves and curves of the bottle's shape. Inside, the wine has separated into components, the sediment settled, the alcohol and other compounds changed by decades in the deep. Somewhere above, someone toasted with this wine, celebrated or mourned, then discarded the bottle over a ship's rail. Now it's an artifact of a moment no one remembers. A viperfish hangs motionless in the water, its fang-like teeth protruding even when its mouth is closed, teeth so long they don't fit inside the jaw. The viperfish has a hinged skull that allows its head to tilt back, opening its mouth to nearly 90 degrees to swallow prey whole. Its body is black and streamlined, built for sudden bursts of speed. Along its sides, photophores can be illuminated to create patterns of light, possibly for communication with others of its species, or perhaps to confuse prey in the moments before attack. The viperfish is a sprint predator in a world of ambush hunters, capable of explosive acceleration when opportunity presents itself. AROV's lost manipulator arm lies in the mud, its hydraulic lines trailing like tentacles, its claw still slightly open. This robotic arm once extended from a remotely operated vehicle, collecting samples and conducting experiments under human direction from a ship miles above. A mechanical failure or collision caused it to detach, and it fell here, becoming just another piece of debris. The arm is covered in instruments, sensors, cameras, lights, all now useless. Yet even this technological cast-off provides structure. Small fish hover near it, using it as a reference point in the featureless plain. A sea anemone has attached to the claw itself, its tentacles extending from where the arm once gripped scientific instruments. A goblin shark drifts past, one of the ocean's most peculiar predators. Its snout extends forward in a long, flat blade, covered with electroreceptors that detect the bioelectric fields of prey. But the truly bizarre feature is its jaw. When it attacks, the jaw shoots forward from its mouth, extending on sliding cartilage to grab prey before retracting back into place. The shark is pale pink, almost ghostly, with small eyes and a flabby body that suggests a slow-moving lifestyle. It's rarely seen, spending most of its time in the deepest waters, rising occasionally to feed in the mid-water column. The goblin shark looks like evolution's rough draft, a design that somehow works despite appearing unfinished. A cluster of deep-sea anemones waves in the weak current, their tentacles extended like flowers in an underwater garden. But these are carnivores, and those graceful tentacles are lined with stinging cells that paralyze anything that brushes against them. Some anemones at this depth can live for decades or even centuries, remaining anchored to the same spot, waiting for food to drift within reach. They reproduce slowly, sometimes budding off clones, sometimes releasing eggs and sperm into the water, and hoping that somehow, in the vastness of the ocean, they'll find each other. The anemones sway together, a grove of patient predators, moving only with the water's movement, never by their own volition. A child's toy lies half buried in the sediment, a small plastic action figure, its paint faded but its form still recognizable. It fell from a ship, perhaps dropped by a child leaning over a rail or washed from a coastal area by floods. The toy has travelled farther than the child who played with it will ever go, descended to depths where humans can only visit in specially designed vessels. To the deep-sea creatures, it's just another inexplicable object, another mystery from the world above. A small fish has taken to hovering near it, perhaps drawn to the colour or shape, finding some comfort or curiosity in this visitor from the surface. A chimera glides through the water, its long whip-like tail trailing behind its bulky body. Also called a ghost shark or ratfish, this creature is neither shark nor ray, but something older, a member of a lineage that split from other fish hundreds of millions of years ago. Its skin is smooth and scaleless, with a faint iridescence that catches non-existent light. From its forehead extends a club-like appendage, possibly used for sensing electrical fields, or perhaps in mating rituals scientists still don't fully understand. The chimera's large eyes are adapted for seeing in low light, and its grinding tooth plates can crush the shells of mollusks and crustaceans. It moves with an almost awkward grace, wing-like pectoral fins flapping slowly. A collection of glass fishing floats cluster together, tangled in decaying net, a drift net that was lost or abandoned decades ago. The floats are various sizes and colours, green, blue, amber, each one a sealed sphere of air from the surface world. They've been drifting together, caught in the same current systems, occasionally sinking when enough biological growth weighs them down, then rising again when organisms die and fall away. The net itself has become a ghost trap, occasionally snagging fish or other creatures, though most of its killing potential has faded as the fibers rot. Still, these floats will persist for centuries, hollow spheres wandering the ocean. A carnivorous tunicate sits anchored to a rock, its translucent body shaped like a vase. Unlike its filter-feeding relatives in shallow water, this deep-sea tunicate is a predator. Its hood-like opening is lined with touch-sensitive hairs. When a small crustacean or larval fish brushes against them, the opening snaps shut in milliseconds, trapping the prey inside to be slowly digested. The tunicate can remain closed for days, processing its meal before opening again to wait for the next victim. Its body is nearly transparent, revealing the simple internal structures that belie its effectiveness as a predator. In a world of limited energy, this sit-and-wait strategy proves remarkably successful. A ship's wheel lies on the bottom, its wooden spokes mostly intact, held together by brass fittings that have turned green with age. Someone's hands once gripped these handles, steering through storms, guiding a vessel to destinations now forgotten. The wood shows signs of wood-boring organisms at work, slowly reducing it to nothing, but the process is glacially slow in the cold, oxygen-poor water. Small polyps have colonized several of the spokes, adding texture and color. The wheel no longer turns, no longer responds to the push of the current. It steered its last course long ago. A stoplight loose-jaw fish drifts past, its jaw permanently unhinged, giving it a perpetually shocked expression. But the most remarkable feature is beneath its eye, a red bioluminescent organ, one of the few creatures capable of producing red light. While most deep-sea creatures produce blue or green light, this fish has evolved a private wavelength. It shines its red light like a searchlight, illuminating prey that cannot see red wavelengths, remaining invisible to its victims until the moment of attack. The loose jaw's body is black, its bones visible through thin skin, built for efficiency rather than armor. It embodies a simple truth of the deep. Innovation in light is innovation in survival. A length of heavy chain snakes across the seafloor, each link as thick as a human arm. This was an anchor chain once, the connection between a massive ship and the anchor that held it. The chain has broken, perhaps it snapped under strain or was deliberately cut, and now it lies in a rough line pointing in the direction of the current that deposited it. Each link is slowly corroding, becoming thinner, eventually to collapse into fragments. Crabs walk along it as if it were a highway, using it to navigate across the otherwise featureless bottom. The chain has weight and history, and it will take centuries to disappear completely. A big fin squid hangs in the water column, arms and tentacles extending downward for 20 feet or more, impossibly thin filaments that move in independent waves. This is one of the ocean's least understood creatures, seen only a handful of times, always by deep-sea cameras and ROVs. The squid's arms appear to have been stretched beyond any reasonable proportion, as if someone pulled them like taffy. Scientists believe these elongated appendages drag along the seafloor, detecting prey through touch, but no one has ever seen one feeding. The body is small, perhaps a foot long, but those arms extend into the darkness below, testing, searching, waiting for contact with something edible in the infinite emptiness. A brass diving helmet sits upright on a ledge, its faceplate missing, revealing the hollow interior. This is from an era when divers descended in rubberized canvas suits, breathing air pumped through hoses from the surface. The helmet weighs over 60 pounds, designed to keep the diver weighted down against their natural buoyancy. Whoever wore this helmet died in it or removed it at depth. Either way, it's been here for decades, perhaps a century. Small crabs explore its interior, scuttling through where a human head once fitted. The air holes on top have become homes for tiny anemones. The helmet was meant to protect life. Now it shelters it in a different way. A lion's main nudibranch crawls across a rock, its body bright orange and covered with serrata, finger-like projections that both respirate and sting. This sea slug is a specialist predator, feeding only on certain types of hydroids. When it consumes its prey, it doesn't digest the stinging cells. Instead, it stores them in the tips of its serrata, repurposing its victims' weapons for its own defense. The nudibranch is completely blind, navigating by chemical sensors, following scent trails to find its specific prey. Its bright coloration warns potential predators that it's toxic or distasteful. In the darkness where color is meaningless, the warning is lost, but the toxicity remains. A section of airplane fuselage rests on a steep slope, its windows still intact, looking out onto eternal darkness. The metal skin is torn at the edges where it's separated from the rest of the aircraft. Through one window you can see where seats once bolted to the floor, the attachment points still visible. This piece fell from tens of thousands of feet, tumbling through air and then water, coming to rest where only the deepest creatures wander. There are no human remains. Either they were carried elsewhere by currents, or the cold and pressure and scavengers erased all traces. The fuselage is a fragment of catastrophe, silent testimony to a moment of terror that ended in these still waters. A Yeti crab waves its hairy arms through the water near a hydrothermal vent, its claws and legs covered in dense filaments that look like white fur. But these aren't hairs, they're setae, bristles that host colonies of bacteria. The crab farms these bacteria, waving its arms through the mineral-rich vent water to feed them, then scrapes them off to eat. It's blind, its eyes reduced to useless remnants beneath its carapace, having no need for vision in the perpetual darkness. A phonograph lies on its side, the horn bent but still attached, the turntable corroded but recognizable. This mechanical music player once brought sound to a ship's passengers or crew, spinning records of orchestras, singers, voices from the past. The horn has become a shelter for a small octopus that peers out from the bell, its eye watching for passing prey. An object designed to transmit sound rests where sound itself travels differently, where the physics of water change everything about how vibrations move and dissipate. A pelican eel undulates through the midwater, its body a whip-thin tail that extends from a massive pelican-like jaw. The jaw can unhinge and expand to create a pouch capable of swallowing prey much larger than the eel's body. At the end of its tail is a complex bioluminescent organ that glows pink, possibly used to attract prey or mates. Its body is so elongated that it looks almost abstract, more concept than creature. A collection of clay amphorae rests in formation, some upright, some tilted, their contents long since dissolved into the sea. These vessels transported wine or oil in the ancient Mediterranean, carried in the hold of a merchant ship that never reached port. Each amphora is now colonized, organisms growing on the rough terracotta surface. The spaces between the vessels create a complex three-dimensional habitat, galleries and passages where fish navigate and invertebrates cling. A sea toad sits on the bottom, looking exactly like a warty rock until it moves. This ambush predator can remain motionless for hours, waiting for small fish or crustaceans to pass close enough to its enormous mouth. When prey approaches, the toad opens its jaws in a fraction of a second, creating suction that pulls the victim inside before it can react. The sea toad's camouflage is nearly perfect. Its skin texture, coloration, and even the pattern of its markings mimic the surrounding substrate. A bronze propeller lies half buried in sediment, 3 massive blades extending from a central hub. Each blade is several feet long, cast and machined to precise specifications to convert engine power into thrust. The propeller drove a large ship, perhaps a freighter or military vessel, pushing thousands of tons through the water. Now, it pushes nothing, generates no wake, creates no sound beyond the occasional click of a crab's legs on metal. A ping-pong tree sponge grows upward from the seafloor, branching like a pale tree, its surface covered in small bumps that give it a textured appearance. This sponge can live for centuries, growing millimeter by millimeter, filtering vast quantities of water through its porous structure. It provides habitat for dozens of species. Small shrimp live among its branches, fish use it as a spawning site, and organisms too small to see colonize every surface. The sponge is more ecosystem than individual, a living architecture that concentrates life in a specific location. A leather boot sits on a flat rock, still laced, holding its shape despite decades underwater. The leather is darkened and stiff, the sole partially separated, but the boot remains recognizable. It came from someone's foot, fell off during an accident, removed hastily from a sinking vessel, or simply discarded overboard. Small organisms have colonized its interior, finding shelter in the toe and heel. A grenadier fish swims just above the bottom, its large head tapering to a rat-like tail. Also called rat tails, these fish are among the most abundant vertebrates in the deep sea, though most people never see them. The grenadier uses its chin barbel, a whisker-like sensory organ, to detect prey on the seafloor. Its lateral line is highly developed, allowing it to sense vibrations and movements in the water from considerable distances. A ship's compass binnacle stands upright, the brass housing still containing the magnetic compass within its protective sphere. The compass card is frozen, its needle pointing in a direction that no longer matters. The binnacle once stood on a ship's bridge where navigators check their course, where decisions were made about which direction to steer. Now, it points only to the gradual accumulation of sediment around its base. A sea pen rises from the mud like a feather, its central stalk supporting rows of polyps that extend into the current. This colonial organism is actually hundreds of individual animals working together, each polyp capturing plankton and sharing nutrients through the connected tissue. The sea pen can retract completely into the sediment if threatened, disappearing within seconds. When extended, it sways gently, filtering the water that passes. A corroded cannonball rests in a depression, a sphere of iron slowly dissolving into rust and returning to the elements. It was fired from a warship centuries ago, perhaps in battle or just as practice. The ball never reached its intended target, falling into the water and sinking to rest here. Small invertebrates have colonized the pitted surface, finding homes in the corrosion. A football fish drifts motionless, its spherical body covered in spines, a bioluminescent lure dangling from its forehead. This is a female anglerfish, and somewhere attached to her body is a parasitic male, reduced to little more than reproductive organs. Her mouth is filled with recurved teeth that make escape impossible for anything she catches. The lure glows softly, mimicking prey to attract curious fish. A granite millstone lies flat on the seafloor, its circular form and central hole unmistakable. This stone once turned in a mill, grinding grain into flour driven by water or wind or animal power. It fell from a cargo ship or washed from a coastal settlement claimed by the sea. The stone surface shows the grooves cut to improve grinding efficiency. A telescope fish hangs vertically in the water, its tubular eyes pointing upward, scanning for prey silhouettes against the faint light from above. Its eyes are among the most sensitive in the ocean, capable of detecting the dimmest photons. The fish's body is mostly black, nearly invisible in the darkness. When it spots prey, it rotates its entire body to pursue. A pewter tankard sits on a ledge, its handle still intact, its surface dulled by time and pressure. Someone drank from this vessel, ale or water or wine, hundreds of years ago. The tankard fell or was thrown overboard, sinking to become part of the archaeological record. Small hydroids have colonized the rim where lips once touched. A Sloane's viperfish patrols the mid-water, its needle-like teeth visible even from a distance, its first dorsal fin ray extended with a photophore at the tip. This modified fin acts as a fishing rod, the light luring prey close enough to strike. The viperfish can swallow fish nearly as large as itself. Its body is built for brief, explosive attacks. A ceramic jug lies on its side. Its glaze cracked but still partially intact, revealing the clay beneath. The jug once held liquid, water, oil, or spirits, in some distant kitchen or ship's galley. It has survived because ceramic is nearly indestructible in the cold, dark water. An eel has made its home inside the jug's belly. A telescope fish drifts through the darkness, its eyes enormous relative to its small body, each eye a complex instrument for gathering light. The lenses are among the largest of any fish its size, giving it exceptional vision in near-total darkness. The fish's body is compressed and scaled, with bioluminescent organs along its sides. It watches, always watches, searching for movement. A ship's anchor point lies on the bottom, a massive iron ring attached to a section of hull plating. This was where chains connected, where the anchor line transferred its load to the ship's structure. The metal is thick, built to withstand tremendous forces, yet it failed or was torn away. Rust streams from the iron like dried blood, staining the surrounding sediment orange. A coffin fish sits motionless on the seafloor, its body inflated and covered in prickly scales, looking more like a spiny balloon than a fish. This relative of the anglerfish moves by walking on modified pectoral fins that function like stubby legs. When threatened, it can inflate itself further, making it nearly impossible for predators to swallow. Its small lure extends from above its mouth, drawing prey close. A bronze statue's head rests tilted in the sand, one eye socket empty, the other still holding a glass or stone eye that stares at nothing. The features are classical, Greek or Roman, carved with skill that's evident even in decay. This head broke from its body centuries ago, perhaps when the ship carrying it sank. Green patina covers the bronze, and the expression seems almost peaceful. A striated frogfish clings to a rock, perfectly camouflaged to look like algae-covered stone, complete with skin flaps that mimic plant growth. It's completely motionless except for a small lure that extends from its head, wiggling like a worm. When a fish investigates, the frogfish's mouth opens and closes in 6 milliseconds, the fastest strike of any vertebrate. The prey disappears before it can react. A ship's telegraph stands upright, its brass handles frozen in position, the dial indicating full ahead or stop, or some other command that no engine will ever answer. This device transmitted orders from the bridge to the engine room, a mechanical communication system. The brass is corroded, but the mechanism is still visible through gaps in the housing. It gave its last command long ago. A stoplight loose jaw swims past, with its jaw hanging open at an impossible angle, held by elastic tissue that allows it to stretch wider than seems anatomically possible. The fish's stomach can expand to accommodate prey larger than its own head. Red photophores beneath its eyes emit light that most prey cannot see. It hunts in a wavelength of invisibility. A ceramic doll's head lies face up in the sediment, its painted features faded but still recognizable. Blue eyes, pink cheeks, rosebud lips. The body is gone, perhaps separated during the fall or dissolved over time. This was a child's toy, held and loved and eventually lost. Small worms have bored into the hollow interior. A rat-tail fish hovers near a carcass, using its barbell to test the dead tissue before committing to feed. These scavengers are often the first to find whale falls and other large food sources. The fish moves methodically, taking small bites, conserving energy between mouthfuls. Its eyes are large and dark, adapted for the dim environment. A brass porthole lies separated from its frame, the glass somehow still intact, rimmed with seal material that has hardened like stone. Through this window, passengers or crew once looked out at the ocean's surface, watching waves and weather. Now the view from both sides is the same, darkness and pressure. The glass has become opaque with biological film. A black devil anglerfish drifts in the water column, one of the most grotesque inhabitants of the deep, with an enormous mouth full of transparent teeth and a bioluminescent lure that dangles from an elongated dorsal spine. Her body is covered in dark skin that absorbs light rather than reflecting it. Somewhere on her body, nearly invisible, is a parasitic male, a tiny fish that has bitten into her flesh and fused permanently, his bloodstream connected to hers. She is both predator and host. A ship's chronometer sits in the mud, its wooden case rotted away but the brass mechanism still visible, gears and springs exposed to the water. This precision instrument once kept time with enough accuracy to allow navigators to calculate longitude. Without accurate time, ships were lost, This chronometer guided its vessel until both ended here. The hands have stopped, marking the exact moment when water finally penetrated the mechanism. A frilled shark undulates through the water, looking like a creature from an earlier age of Earth, which it essentially is, relatively unchanged for millions of years. Its body is eel-like, its mouth positioned at the front rather than underneath like modern sharks, filled with rows of needle-sharp teeth designed for grasping slippery prey. The frilled gills that give it its name ripple along its neck. When it strikes, it lunges like a snake, bending its body into curves. A brass ship's bell lies on its side, partially buried, its clapper missing, but the mounting bracket still attached. Someone rang this bell to mark the hours, to signal fog, to call crew to stations. The bell's surface bears an inscription, a ship's name or a dedication, now obscured by marine growth. The metal will outlast nearly everything else from the vessel. A Barreleye fish rotates its tubular eyes forward, tracking a small jellyfish drifting overhead. The transparent dome of its head reveals the eye mechanisms, green cylinders that can swivel independently within the fluid-filled skull. The fish's actual eyes are where you'd expect nostrils to be. The dark spots that look like eyes are olfactory organs. It rises slowly, positioning itself beneath its prey. A silver serving tray rests on the bottom, tarnished black but still recognizable, its ornate border showing craftsmanship from another era. This tray once carried food or drinks in a ship's dining room or a wealthy cabin. Small octopus eggs are attached to its underside in clusters, the mother having chosen this smooth surface for her brood. She hovers nearby, guarding them until they hatch. A Pacific black dragon swims through the darkness, her body long and serpentine, studded with photophores that can create complex light displays. From her chin hangs a bioluminescent barbell that she uses to lure prey. Her teeth are so large they extend outside her mouth even when closed. Males of this species look completely different, small, dark, and lacking the elaborate features of females. A ship's wheel spoke lies detached from its wheel, a single curved piece of wood with brass fittings at each end. It was part of a larger whole, now separated and alone. The wood shows tool marks from the craftsman who shaped it. Small organisms have begun the slow work of decomposition. A fangtooth fish juvenile drifts past, looking almost nothing like the adult it will become. Its body covered in spines, its eyes relatively normal-sized. As it matures, the spines will disappear and its teeth will grow grotesquely large. This is one of the deepest living fish species, able to survive at depths where few others venture. The transformation from juvenile to adult is so dramatic that scientists once thought they were different species. A pocket watch lies open in the sediment, its face exposed, the hands stopped at a specific time that might mark the moment water reached its mechanism or simply when it wound down. The case is gold or brass, engraved with initials or a pattern now filled with silt. Someone checked this watch throughout their day, consulting it for appointments and schedules. Time moves differently here, slowly, measured in decades and centuries rather than seconds. A sea spider walks across a sponge on impossibly thin legs that span 8 inches from tip to tip. This is not a true spider, but a pycnogonid, a marine arthropod, whose body is so small that its digestive system extends into its legs. It moves with deliberate slowness, each leg lifting and placing with precision. The sea spider feeds by piercing sponges and other soft-bodied creatures with its proboscis. A volcanic rock sits alone on the Abyssal Plain, somehow transported here from a seamount miles away. perhaps carried by ancient ice or caught in unusual currents. The rock is porous, filled with holes from gas bubbles that formed as lava cooled. This single stone has become an entire ecosystem. Every surface is colonized, every crevice occupied. In the vast emptiness of the seafloor, this rock is an empire, a kingdom, the center of all local life. Around it, the mud stretches flat and featureless. But here, concentrated in this one location, dozens of species find purchase, shelter, and home. 100 objects and creatures, each one a mystery resting in the deep. Some have been here for centuries, others arrived only recently. All exist in a world of perpetual darkness and crushing pressure, where time moves slowly and change comes in millennia rather than seasons. The abyss keeps its secrets well, revealing them only to those who descend into the silence. May these mysteries carry you gently into sleep, into dreams as deep and quiet as the ocean floor itself. Rest well.